What up, faithful? I'm gonna let some people hop into this stream as we get things started. JB's gonna come a little bit later. My name is BMH. It's a 49365 team. I'm gonna hold it down right now. Um, just wanted to get on real quick. I know this is typically the Tonight Show, is what this podcast is called, but right now it is 4:40 a.m. in London, where I'm at right now. But wanted to keep things moving and tap in with my folks. So, waiting for JB to get on, but as I do, really, I want to talk about what everybody's talking about and what everybody's been talked about already. Um, Trey Lance, Jimmy G, quarterback talk. That's what it's all about. As we always get on and talk about, you already know what the topic is going to be. And I guess specifically when it comes to news right now, it's the whole is Tom Brady coming back? Does he want to play for the Niners? Aaron Rodgers' cryptic tweets, does he want to entertain playing for the red and gold? And, you know, clearly the footage from, Javier Vega, the leaked Trey Lance practice footage, I guess like understanding and thinking about how that got leaked out, why that got leaked out. Because I always like to think about the whys and things like that. Like, what's the purpose? Who wanted that to get out? You know what I'm saying? So that's an interesting aspect and an angle to go at it. And I guess that's where I'm gonna start because when you look at Trey, right, it's a situation where I think at this point the team has to figure out: do we want to risk hurting his long term, just confidence in entertaining even the prospect of bringing in these guys that we know are great right now, and risk, doing something with his confidence or doing just damaging that relationship for the long term? I think that's what the team has to look into and has to consider. Um, and so it's an interesting dilemma because it's about long term and short term. And I feel like that's one of the biggest concepts in life is long term, short term, really for anything. So many times we sacrifice um, what our long term goals are, what our long term mission is, what's really most important, because all your short term decisions should add up to your long term decisions, right? So many times we sacrifice our long term happiness and goals for short term ones, and in so many aspects and avenues of life. One area I can think of off the top of my head is typically the workspace, where if you have somebody that you're training in your job, for the short term, it might not always be the best thing. For the long term, if you train them, they may make some mistakes now in the short term, but in the long term, they'll be better for it, can help you out in the future, etc. But if you're not really planning to be with the company for too long, you're probably not going to invest in training people, for an example, right? So there's a multitude of ways in which short term versus long term comes up in life. But for the Niners, really the question is a long term goal making sure that Trey Lance is the most successful, or is the long term goal getting that quest for six, right? And getting that ring, So considering that, um, it's an interesting question. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Of course, quest for six is always the goal, but the goal is ultimately to have somebody, as a sustained opportunity to consistently always be in it, always be in the game. That's the way I see it, at least. So I know there's a lot of people that want to go, hey, Tom Brady's hot. Let's get him now. We kind of talked about that, me and JB, last week on our episode, kind of breaking down the prospects of bringing him in now. It's like buying late, you know. I think the concerns we had last time in 2020 and 2019 with bringing them to the scene was because the team was concerned about, you know, how he would hold up being as old as he is in a sport like this, right? And so now that it's been 2 years later and he's had his success, he's clearly still at the MVP level. The question is, do you keep it going? Do you risk it again? Do you have the same sort of dilemma where he's kind of old, but he's Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. But I just feel like at this point, my opinion is that you can't hit twice. Like it's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk for him alone, for him having that success, even though we have a great team that we could build around him, but also in comparison to Trey. So, and doing what's fair to him. So that's ultimately how I feel about it. Um, but yeah, it looks like JB still waiting for him to tap in. If anybody in the comment section wants to tap in, definitely could do that. Make sure that I can send a link if you guys are interested in speaking. But other than that, those are really the topics for today. I'm probably going to sign out a bit early. Just wanted to get on and see if anybody wanted to tap in, see if JB wanted to tap in. But um, I was up super late. It's actually, like I said, 4:40 a.m. in the morning here in London right now. But yeah, just wanted to tap in with y'all and see if anybody wanted to fill me in on what's going on right now, because I've been a little out of it this past week. I'm not gonna lie, just being out here for a shoot. Um, the days are been kind of blurry for me, and but I have seen things here and there. Looks like Tom Brady was talking about he didn't really end things clearly with the Bucks, and so there's a slimmer of hope that he potentially might come to us. A lot of people are speculating. And then the Aaron Rodgers situation, which I don't really want to get into that, but if anybody else has anything they could fill me in on and wants to tap in, feel free. But like I said, it's 4:40 a.m. in London, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on this thing, but definitely want to tap in with my faithful. And if JB hits this link, then I'll definitely bring him on and we can close out with a few thoughts before I sign out of this thing. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to, like I said, long term over short term. That's how I look at it with this whole situation and all these different quarterbacks and the options that may be. I value the long term prospects of having a sustained opportunity at success for the long term. And I think that's what Trey, it's time to move forward. Let's not entertain any of these other scenarios. Let's not even bring it up. For me, it's a moot point. It's fun to talk about, fun to think about, but you know, you got to keep things moving. You got to embrace it. I think it's something to be said to just embrace the good opportunities that you have, because the moment that you kind of play around with that and entertain other ones that may not even be as good, you kind of ruin what you have. The grass isn't always greener. The grass is not always greener. And I know there's probably some Jimmy stands out there that are probably going to be saying that about Jimmy, but I think we've seen that grass. So it's time to move forward on that. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. I see Jesse Naylor in here. What up? What up, G? Definitely gonna tap in to your channel this week. Make sure I get the updates on what's going on with the team. I'm out here in London right now, and I've been, not as tuned in, tapped in as I typically am. So I definitely gotta get in my content, in the time periods that I can. So I definitely will be doing that. He said, I'm with you, Trey Day. Unfortunately, I feel like there's a real possibility that it happens with Brady. Yeah, I mean, read the tea leaves. I mean, that's what the signs look to be indicating towards, that there's a strong possibility. Everything's a little bit fishy with how things ended in Tampa. It's just, when you hear reports, like one of the things they said was like Bruce Arians was like taking a red marker through everything that Brady and Leftwich were putting together in terms of like, the game plans week to week. I get weary when I hear stuff like that. It's like, so what does that mean? You don't want to be coached? Or what does that mean? Like you felt disrespected or insecure because, they had their thoughts on what they wanted to do, and you as a coach want to do something different. I don't know. It just seems a little like, how is that going to play with Coach Shanahan? So I don't know. It's just interesting. Something to think about, something to consider. It's not all, flowers and roses on that other side as you may think it will be. So, and I just feel like if you put yourself in a situation where you're going to bring somebody like that in and give him the keys, you kind of are, I feel like it's an ego hit to Shanahan in terms of like your control and your vision and team building and everything like that. Like, maybe that's too drastic of a statement because you get free agents, you trade for players every year, but at that quarterback position, it means so much, and you traded so much for Trey. So to kind of switch it up, and you already previously denied this player, but now you want to bring him in after you've seen that he was successful in Tampa. It just seemed like kind of going back and forth. And I don't know if that's the best look right there for him, for the team. Um, it just, I don't know if it's a good look. That's just how I feel, you know. And I know there's other people on the other side who may feel different, but for me, it's just I don't know. It just don't feel right. It don't sit right with me. So that's my 2 cents. And I don't know. I don't think we got on to do a show to really fully talk about the Javier Vega clips. Um, I think that it was amazing to see because me and JB the previous week were just talking about how I choose to look at things through a glass half full perspective, meaning that I'm pretty optimistic as a person. I like to, you know, fill things with positive energy. And, you know, I definitely feel like when you look at what we've seen so far from Trey and the games that he did get to play, um, there's a lot to build off from there. And the fact that he did sit this season, but we still made to the playoffs, I think that bodes well. You know, I would have preferred that he would have played from the jump and get that experience. But if you are going to be sitting, your team better make the playoffs at least. And we made the NFC Championship game, so I feel like him being in a situation where he's sitting through that and seeing that success, the pressure in those games, how intense everything is, I think it can have a benefit. But then also having him play in 2 games, getting 2 starts, one of them is a playoff game for us. I feel like that bodes well for, you know, his long-term prospects and success. So I do feel like there's so much to build off of. And then you see the practice footage, you know. So to me, what it shows is nothing. It's practice, it's scrimmage. There, you know, it's scout team reps where guys already know what's going on, and you know, it's nothing to go crazy about. But at the same time, it shows you the potential of the capability of the talent, the arm talent, the athleticism. It shows it. You know, there are things that I don't believe Jimmy would be able to do. You know, so and that's a fact. We know that's a fact. So I think that alone is it's about potential and just showing that and having you comfortable and like just making you feel at ease that we know that we have somebody who's that dynamic at its potential. And you mix that with the coaching that we have, you give him the Jimmy Gimmies, as it's been coined, and you have the team that we have around him. We should be able to shape and mold him into a dynamic player. Like I'm not talking about, you know, somebody who's somebody who's a solid 15 to 20, you know, QB in the league. I'm talking about somebody who's one of those guys. That's what we're hoping for. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think, Jesse?
Yeah, man. I just wanted to tap in and show some love. You and I have never had a chance to really talk one-on-one. We've,
Yeah, man. That's true. That's true.
done the Twitter spaces and all
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Obviously through the chat on the shows and whatnot. But how's London, first of all? What are you doing there?
So I do. I'm actually a media director and producer for a podcast. For he goes by 19 Keys, one of the greatest thought leaders in the world, and I'm here for an event with the Earn Your Leisure podcast in London on Thursday. So we're going to be shooting there. So I've been here since Monday. It's crazy. We've only been here for like 2 days, but it's just been nonstop. It's like 5 a.m. right here. But I wanted to hop on and talk with the faithful one time and keep things going because I really haven't had an opportunity to really speak on any platform since I've seen the footage. I've talked to JB about it directly, and I remember there was a few spaces that I was in. I'm not sure if you were in any of those, but there's a few spaces I was in, and but yeah, I just wanted to give my thoughts on it because it's just interesting. Because after that, there was more development. We're hearing more noise about this whole, you know, Brady situation and whatnot, and like you said, you think it's going to be, I don't know if likely is the right word, but there's a lot of noise that makes sense. That you just kind of put 2 and 2 together, and you can kind of see where this is headed. And so it just concerns me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I don't feel. I know it's the goat. I know that it's all about the quest for six, and anything that can get you there, do it. It's kind of like I was saying earlier, like a short term versus long term thing. I feel like when you develop in the future and making all those moves that we did in terms of the capital that we gave up for this young potential star, it's so that we can be competitive for years to come. It's not just like a one-time thing. And so I think we can do both. I think we can do both, you know. If we hand the keys over to Trey, and my concern is that it's kind of like once you flirt around with something when you already have something good, it's like, are you going to damage his confidence? Are you going to, kind of mess up what you already have? And that's my concern, especially with what we did with Jimmy, and kind of like it's just an awkward situation with Trey. And now it's like, he's already doing these interviews on these shows and like doesn't really know what to say because it's an awkward situation he's in. And then you bring in this whole, break, and the team isn't doing anything about it. I get that, but it's just, we see what the rumors are. We know what it is, and I'm concerned a little bit about that. So, what are your thoughts?
I'm with you. No, I'm with you 100% on that. One thing that I appreciate is Anthony Lynn being here, and I don't know if you probably haven't seen it, but he came out and basically endorsed Trey Lance. I think
No,
that
I didn't
came
see
out
that.
today. Said that he liked him coming out of college. He has all the physical abilities. He's really high on him, and that's the type of leadership that this team needs. And I'm really excited that he's a part of that to kind of cool things down a little bit. Like, hey, he's our guy. Let's keep it pushing. So for me, like I thought that was a big move by Lynn to come out and do that at this very moment.
What do you think? I want to get your thoughts on real quick, and I'm not going to keep you too long. But what do you think
No, you're good.
about the why behind the practice footage that was leaked? Like just your theory on how it got out there, and what the thinking was behind that. Because I would think that it came from somebody within the team in light of, all of this noise, all this rumors, just to kind of calm it down and show like, hey, we do believe in this guy. But then if that's the case, doesn't that kind of, I don't know, maybe it is kind of saying even with this potential, we still wanted to go with Jimmy because we believe in him that much, and that whole Trey Value situation. Or, one of the things I was thinking too is that now that you have, Mike McDaniel and taking different uh, pieces of our coaching staff and our former tight ends coach, our wide receiver coach, things of that nature, bringing different pieces onto his staff. Is there somebody who's moving on, who's, given some of this out? I'm just curious what you think about in terms of the why and how this got out.
Yeah, the timing is interesting. It's actually a practice squad wide receiver that dropped it on his
Oh,
Instagram. And then obviously it got out in other places as well, but that was the original footage and where it came from. So but the fact that he was dropping practice footage, that's not a normal thing. Like you don't see that. That's pretty frowned upon in the NFL. So I've almost
even
got
with
to
our team, we
imagine that
saw
they
we saw Demo do it
right.
early last year and got reprimanded for it. So
Exactly, exactly. So it is frowned upon for sure. So I think that they want it out there. I think the timing is a little too good, right? If you're asking me. Luckily for them, could you imagine? Let's just go back for a second. Imagine after the Tennessee Titans game, because that footage is actually leading up to the Titans game. It was that week of
mm,
practice, or
okay.
at least the rollout throw to the left. So could you imagine if that dropped after Jimmy played as bad as he did against the Titans? Then Trey goes and starts versus the Texans. Talk
Perfect
about
opportunity.
a complete controversy on your hands. So if that had dropped in, it would have been a whole different world. We could be talking about how Trey Lance performed in the playoffs, because it would be really hard to push that off after people saw that.
That was the Tennessee game. That was the game that I'll just say it. I threw away the Jimmy jersey. I had to after that game. And I felt bad after the last game of the regular season against the Rams. I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little bad. I was like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. But it's funny. It's like one of those Marvel multiverse scenarios where you think of like what the universe in which we just went that direction, because we were always, so many of us, I know yourself included, we thought that we were just going to hand the keys over to Trey to start the season. And when we didn't do that, it was like, okay, that's fine. There's going to be a point in which we're going to have to make that transition happen. And maybe we'll be better for it that way. It didn't happen that way, and I thought maybe it was too late in the season. And it just seems to be a lot of, I don't know if it's from Kittle and the way he answers questions or what it is, but it seems to be a lot of energy in the locker room that maybe that's my read on it, that maybe people were reluctant to hand the keys, that Shanahan actually might have wanted to do that, but he didn't feel like he had the equity in the locker room to do that. Which if that's the case, that's interesting. But I can't knock them for how everything turned out, but that would have been such an interesting point, a turning point for us in this franchise, and I would have been so for it. But didn't end up that way, and it's just interesting to me to this off season, like how are we going to build around Trey? I really hope that I'm kind of switching gears here, but I really hope that our first draft picks are, at the end of the day, you want the team to be better. So whatever's going to help make the team better, I'm with it. If that means getting a corner, if that means getting an edge, like I'm not going to be upset or anything like that. But I do want to do our best to build around Trey. So whether that means offensive lineman, whether that means wide receiver, like I would want to invest in the offense to begin the draft, even though I know edge is important, corner is important.
Mm-hmm.
We've been complaining about, well, specifically corner and edge. The one thing about edge I don't really understand is like, clearly we have Bosa who, blue chip player, but I would think that Chris Kosaric would prefer to have, instead of like all these journeyman, edge rushers that we have from
Yeah,
year to
for
year that he
sure.
makes, like why not just have our own guy that we can mold and be cost controlled and, a kind of a, you can't get the blue chip talents in the second round, but at least we can get somebody who we can, have on a rookie deal and kind of develop and see what he can do with that, but I do want to build around Trey. So I don't know. I don't want to jump too far ahead and I don't want to hold you too long, but do you have any thoughts on, just what we should do this offseason? I heard the Gilmore reports. I don't even know what that report means. The way that was phrased was like, we're poking around to look at potentially inquiring to see if there's a possibility of him sniffing to be, like, what are you talking about? But what are your thoughts on the
Bunch of
offseason plan?
hyperboles thrown out there. Yeah. Listen, man, that's just it. Like this is the time of year that we're in, right? Like this
Yeah.
is rumor season. It happens every single year and it's running rampant for sure. The good news is, just going back real quick to the Tom Brady thing, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to transition into what you just asked. But the interesting thing is, like, at least with Tom Brady, we're gonna have to know early. It's not gonna be one of those situations where it's like June, he's gonna be like, all right, guys, like I'm ready to roll. Because the type of free agency you go after changes pretty significantly with Tom Brady. If it's Tom Brady, you're bringing in a bunch of guys on 1 year deals, trying to go all in and win a Super Bowl. If it's Trey Lance, you're bringing in guys that hopefully can grow with this team and be a part of it for a couple years to come. So they're going to have to figure that out very early. And that's another reason that people aren't really talking about with Tom Brady. There's so much that goes into it. It's not just, okay, Tom Brady or Trey Lance. If it was that simple, I think everybody would be like, yes, of course, Tom Brady. Like, you can win a Super Bowl. But the flip side of that is, it's Tom Brady plus the money you have to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably trading Jimmy as a part of that deal to get him. So now you're losing the capital of what you would have gotten in return for Jimmy. And you're probably
Mm-hmm.
letting a free agent or two walk that you would like to bring back because you're paying that to Tom Brady. And by the way, you're pushing back Trey Lance's development for one more year. You're gutting the roster to a certain extent to bring in these 1 year guys versus guys that you would let grow with the roster and grow with Trey. I just feel like there's a lot more that goes into it. And that's why I really am. And I think it also comes down to, do you believe in Trey Lance? And if you believe that Trey Lance is going to be that guy the way that I know that we do, then for me, it's actually easy the other direction and say, no, let's roll with Trey. But if you have this perception
Have
of him that
questions.
he's not ready or you don't think he's going to be good, then you're going to be strong for Tom Brady. So I can understand both sides of it. It really comes down to how firm are you in the belief of Trey Lance. And a lot of people say he's not ready, whatever the hell that means. And so, yeah, Tom Brady makes a lot of sense. I just personally think he is ready, and I want to see him flourish. I want to see him grow, and I think he's going to be very special. And the faster we can get him on the field, the quicker we're going to see those special abilities. So,
You bring up good points about the hidden costs with like doing a transaction like that and having somebody like Tom come on. Like, is he going to want to bring on his boys? Like, is he going to have the control to bring on an AB? I know that's not going to happen, but as an example, an
right.
AB or a Gronkowski or something like that. Like, I just don't feel like Coach Shanahan would want that type of energy. But in terms of his ego and his control and at least how we perceive him and how much of it's his show, and
Mhm.
it just doesn't seem to match with me. That's the one thing that I just can't. If you make a move like that, even if you win, it just doesn't mean the same. I don't know, and I just feel like for somebody like him, that matters. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just feel like that matters, and it would be hard for me to see that happening. So there's a lot of things that I have hesitations with it for, and this is crazy to even talk about because he's like what 44, 45.
Yeah,
This
right.
is crazy. I get he was able to do what he did in Tampa, but at what point is it going, like, you can't just keep doing this? What if you make all these changes to your team and build around, and then he gets hurt the third week, or he just doesn't have it anymore because it just goes away, and like, then how do we look? And then I just don't perceive our team like that. We seem to have built a program. The first year that Shanahan and Lynch came in, we had 70% turnover with our roster. It was the highest in NFL history, I want to say, from year to year. Like, we built it in having the guys that we want. I just feel like we have a program. We have identity. We have a philosophy. We kind of zig when other teams zag. We have a certain way that we do things. And as a fan, like, yes, you want to win every year. You want to be in it every year. But it also, to me, I have a lot of pride in the team that I support has a identity. We're not just kind of running like a chicken with our heads cut off. We kind of have a direction that we're going, and that means something. Like, I just believe in the long-term prospects, and I support the trade. I support what we've done, and I want to see the fruits of that come to fruition. And, you know, I guess an argument would be, well, have him sit again. He's really young. Just have him sit one more year. But then it's like, to your point, we're not even taking advantage of the cost controlled aspect, the trading for Jimmy and the assets we get from that. Like, there's other aspects to it as well. It's not just, him playing. So I don't know. It's a lot of things to consider. I just
Well,
hope
and
that
what if you don't win? Like what okay, so people act like it's a
put a lot of
guarantee. So
pressure.
what if you bring that on, you don't win, and whether you win or lose, let's say he wants another year. Then what do you do? Right? Like,
Mhm.
let's say he says,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm coming on, but I'm signing a 2-year deal and there's a possibility I
Yeah.
play next year." So now you're sitting Trey for 4 years, and you think that, like, at some point there's a breaking point where he sits too long and it's just not going to work, right? So
Hmm.
I don't know, man. There's a lot that goes into this. It's a lot more than just what seems to be on the surface level.
Yeah, and I hope this gets resolved soon. And like you said, it should, at least in terms of the Brady aspect. People, I seen like Rogers had some cryptic posts and whatnot. I just, that is out. There's no way. I don't see that happening. I don't know if you think that but yeah, that's out. So at least that's out. But and then there's the other scenario of Jimmy G staying another year. I don't think that's going to happen either. But that's still in, like, basically my whole point is, until there's news on that front, we don't know what's going to happen. I remember that
Right.
it was my fiance's birthday when I found out about the Matt Stafford news. So I know it was January 28th last year. Like, that was early in the game. Like, that was very
Yeah.
early in the process. We knew. And I just wish that we had more clarity on this whole Jimmy G situation so we can move on, man. I just want to move on. I just want to have that direction and be able to go and, not have to worry about, for me, that nightmare scenario of, we don't like the offers we're getting, so we're just gonna, like, some BS like that. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs, and even thinking about that. So the sooner I can hear about that, the sooner I can have some sanity, have a better night's sleep, just think about the future and move forward, man. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm with you on that, and that that scenario now has not crossed my mind until just now. So thanks for putting that into my mind. It's late here on the East Coast, and so now I've got to go to sleep thinking about that possibility. But no, I I would say that's probably the least of the possibilities. But God, you
Yeah,
just never know what's going on. And here's the thing about the Brady situation. Just one last thing on that is
yeah,
I say it's a 50-50. And the reason I say that is because I feel like on Tom's side of things, not filing the papers for retirement, knowing he's a fanboy of the 49ers, I feel like he's all in on making that happen. I
yeah,
feel like the Bucks would oblige him. They kind of owe him that. Like, he brought you a ring, he doesn't owe you anything
yeah.
else. So that side
Absolutely.
of things is taken care of. It's wrapped in a nice, pretty little package. Now, what do the 49ers want to do with that? That's where it becomes a 50-50. Is one side's like, yeah, let's do this. The other side, I'm not sure about, and so that's what worries me. Is I'm very confident that Tom Brady's like, "Yep, I would love to end my career in San Francisco." What does Shanahan want to do? And I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, and is his offense going to have to change to accommodate?
Right.
There's other factors that I think about on the X and O side, and just Shanahan with Brady. Obviously it's the GOAT, all those sort of things, but I just don't think, all things considered, that's even the style of quarterback per se that he wants. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe that's a stretch to say, but and it is the GOAT. So it's like, what are you talking about? We made things happen with Jimmy. I get it, but I just don't even know if that's what he wants to do. So it's a lot of things to think about, man.
Yeah,
I
definitely is.
appreciate you
All right,
hopping
brother.
on
I
though.
got to get out of here, man. You have a good one.
Absolutely. I appreciate
All
the
right, man.
love, man. Make sure y'all tap in with Jesse, and I'll catch in with you next time.
All right, sounds good, man. Later.
Cheers. Yeah, man. So really, that's what I wanted to do is just hop on here and tap in with some folks. The link is in there if y'all want to tap in and say what your thoughts are, say what your feelings are on where we're at this point in the off season. I definitely wanted to be updated myself on some of the news going on because, like I said, I'm in London, a little bit of a different setup right now, but still wanted to hop on while I was exporting, working on some things and exporting a video. So in any case, I'm probably going to head to sleep right now if I don't see JB come in the next few minutes. But I guess my closing sort of statements and thoughts on at where we're at this point in the off season again, long term versus short term. I feel like it's time to start a new era right now with Trey. It's just time to start it right now. There's no point to wait and to mess around and you know um, miss out on the opportunity to hit the ground running with putting everything around what we've already invested so much in. It's just time to go all in. We've already made that decision. Like we'll find out if it's the right one or the wrong one, but you have to see it through. You have to at least give it, wings and give it the ability to grow. And it's time to play the kid. That's the only way that he's going to become the man is to play the kid. So that's my 2 cents. Let's get to these last comments. Appreciate you, man. Safe travels overseas. I'm good with sticking to the plan with Trey. Exactly. Let's grow with the kid. That's exactly what I just said. Look at the success of these second year QBs coming in. Yeah, I mean, it's a different era. And I know everybody is, it gets tricky when you compare people to other people, right? And anything. But that's just the part of the reality. Like you're going to compare. So you look at, whether it's um, Joe Burrow, whether it's Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, how he came in. I know it was pretty much his second year, but these guys who've come in first, second, or in some cases third year and balled out, and that's the comparison. That's the standard. And yes, Trey's super young and had very few reps due to COVID, which is out of his control, and the situation he was in under. But he did get 1 year to sit to take in the game, and I think that's got to mean something. And I want to see, what that has resulted in. We saw glimpses of him, even with him being on the bench this year. So I'm excited from what I just saw. I'm excited from the little bit that we've seen from the practice footage, from the actual game footage, like all these various things. And you add in the whole off season and you build a team around him. There's a lot that can happen with that. So I'm excited, just like you. Um, this is the link. I'm gonna give y'all like 3 more minutes if y'all want to tap in. All good. If not, I'm probably gonna peace out. I don't know what this means, but shout out to you. Um, so yeah, with that, couldn't get JB on unfortunately. I know he's putting the kids to sleep. It's time for me to go to sleep. It's 5:15 a.m. out here in London. It's gonna be a big day today. So definitely want to um, make sure I can get some sleep before I tap out. But I appreciate all of you guys who had comments, all of you guys who listen. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for real. Like we got to keep this thing going and consistent. And it's all nighters all day, every day. So definitely 49365. Let's get to this last comment. Even with the Brady Rogers scenario, who has developed under them? It's a good question. Development is it's a complex thing, especially at that QB position. There's a lot of guys, first round guys, second round guys who have started immediately that have failed. There's a lot of guys who have sat and failed. There's an inexact science to all this, I feel like. But at the end of the day, Trey's on a winning team. He also sat, but also played. So there's a lot of unique dynamics to him, specifically with Brady and Rodgers. I mean, Rodgers, nobody, right? There was that whole Matt Flynn situation before, when there was injuries in between quarterbacks and whatnot. But the Tom Brady situation, there's been quarterbacks that have been successful while he's been there. Jimmy G being one of them for 2 games, and Jacoby Brissett. Um, but there hasn't been that heir apparent. They never really invested in developing somebody, so it's hard to say like who's developed under these guys because really the only high draft picks have been Jimmy Garoppolo 2nd round and Jordan Love 1st round for both of those guys. So it's kind of hard to judge on a question like that. But I think you can argue that Jimmy G. I mean, you have to say Jimmy G developed somewhat because, and even Brissett. Brissett is not an NFL starter, but he's a high level backup, and there was some development there. I mean, he was a late round draft pick. It wasn't like he was a top 2 first round, 2nd round guy. So definitely feel like Jimmy G did develop to a certain extent because he's a starting quarterback in the league. So that has to be said for something. So you got to give them. I don't know if you want to credit that to just all out development, but it's part of the game. Those are the facts. So with that being said, appreciate everybody who tapped in. Appreciate Jesse for coming on. I wish I could link his channel here, but y'all know Last Second Sports, man. Y'all know how to tap into that. This off season, I'm actually going through a lot of changes personally in my life, my professional life, all those various things, and I'm definitely looking forward to tapping in, providing more content this off season, doing a lot of different things, collaborations, just higher quality content, quantity, quality, all of that, all of the above. And I'm just super excited to be sharing that with y'all. Right now, I know it's a small, intimate group that we have following us, tapped in with us at 49x365. But me and JB, we're going to stay with it and definitely give you this heat. What up, JB?
What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Man,
I was just about to sign out.
It's good.
Nothing much, man. I was talking about the Tom Brady situation, talking about the Aaron Rodgers post, talking about the Trey footage because we never really got on to talk about the Trey practice footage. And Jesse Naylor came on from Last Second
Wait,
Sports
wait,
for a
with
little.
Tom Brady, I heard he hold a grudge against us though.
Yeah, I heard that as well. So you hear a lot of different things, but like Jesse, for example, was saying that, and that's funny because, if y'all don't know, man, the JB is Jesse Brooks. So we got 2 Jessies out there tapping in with us today. But Jesse Naylor was saying that he thinks it's 50-50 with the Brady situation. So I don't know, man.
Bro.
He was saying he thinks it's 50-50. I don't know if you heard the last thing I said. He was saying he thinks it's 50-50 just because everything's pretty much lined up on Brady's side. In terms of he didn't officially retire. It's just, all these things that you've already heard, the challenge and descent with Tampa Bay that he had, not fully retiring, all these various things, right? And so, yeah, I don't know if that whole grudge situation, how real that is, but
What'd you
it's
say,
something to
man?
keep
My
considered.
bad. I know my shit disconnected.
No, you
But
good.
what'd
You
you
good.
say about the grudge? Like you don't think it's true, or
No, I mean, I think it's a factor. I don't know how that, plays a role. But, it's tough to say, bro. It's tough to say. I can't call it. I cannot call it. I feel like more so than anything, I feel like what doesn't get it done is Shanahan's hesitancy to, just his ego and everything to defer all that control and power to Brady. Brady comes on, we're probably gonna have to change up the team a little bit. He may want to have some input on things. I don't. He said he was getting mad for Bruce Arians putting red markers through their plans. Like, what are you gonna do when Shanahan is there? Like, so it's just, I don't know if it's gonna add up and make sense, but, I don't know.
no?
I
I
think it's
feel it.
time
I
to just
mean,
move to Trey.
what do you think about last year? Last year, how right before the draft we were trying to get A-Rod. In terms of like,
Um,
you know what I'm saying, big name quarterback type deal.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about it because it's like, on one hand, I totally understand. I mean, that's one of the goats. You can't ever, even like Al Shanahan's always said, if one of those guys is available, you have to at least make the call. I get it, but it's a little surprising to me because like I just I don't know. The way I see the box that I put Shanahan in is like, why would he? Does he really want to do something like that? You know what I mean? Does he really want to put everything on the line with one of these guys instead of like having somebody that you can still kind of coach hard? And not to say that you can't coach those guys hard, but if you know what I'm saying, like it just seems like a lot to go for one of those goats where your expectation is absolutely Super Bowl. You're putting everything on the line, and I don't know. It just seems like not the route that we've gone through, like the way we've built this program for the past 5 years. It just seems counterintuitive to that.
Man, I
So
feel it, bro. I feel it, man. What's good though, man? So with London, I know it's hella. I know you
man.
finna. I know you gotta go to sleep though.
Yeah, no, I'm about to pass out in a little bit. But no, London is great, man. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy it as much as I have. It's pretty gloomy. I feel like Seattle vibes in terms of like just being kind of depressing and gloomy. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's the city and around London too. The cities around it, it's just beautiful. It's like the architecture, the buildings, just it's very cinematic to me. And it's just dope. Like I just want to shoot everything out here. So I've just been taking a lot of photos and all that. But it's definitely it's dope out here for sure. Yeah, we went to tapped in with a few people. I've been asking them about the football teams out here, the soccer teams out here, and just like how everything works with like who's alliance with who. Because there's so many teams in this small area. You know what I mean? In the Premier League,
It's
I'm a
small.
big
It's a
Arsenal.
small area.
Well, I mean, I guess like my perception, at least my understanding, there's so many different football clubs all in this area. Like it'd be like having like the Rams in San Francisco and the Seahawks in um, Sacramento, and like what I'm saying, like there's all these teams that are all around here where which is like just fan base wise and stuff. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Like, how does all this work? So I just asked like, oh, like what's the team around here? What's the team around here? And it's been interesting. And for those of y'all who don't know, I'm an Arsenal fan, and Arsenal's owner is the Rams owner. So, I was talking to my best friend about, do we think there's going to be any secondary benefits from the Rams winning the Super Bowl? Like, is he going to kind of see the blueprint and invest more into the soccer team and stuff? Probably not. But it's been interesting talking to some fans out here about some things. And but yeah, it's dope. I love it. I love it out here. I did not think I was going to like it this much, but it's dope.
Why you didn't think you was gonna like it?
I don't know. I don't really have whenever I travel or whenever I like a lot of things in general in life, I always talk to my fiance about this. Like, I don't have like high expectations for things. Like, I just like, I don't know. I just don't have like, I
Bruh,
just don't
hold on.
really
That's
come
a
with
lie.
you think so? You think that's a lie?
You do the whole playoff run.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess I was confident, that we would beat the Rams. I was confident that like, but even before that, though, like the Packers, I wasn't like, I was juiced about that game and whatnot, but I wasn't just thinking we were going to beat the Packers. I didn't have that mindset coming in. I thought we were going to beat the Cowboys for sure, but I don't know. I didn't have like high expectations in terms of like at that point. I mean, after everything, the path kind
Okay,
of
okay. So, but why
made
would
itself
you not
clear.
have high expectations? I
But
mean, not to say high expectations, but like low expectations regarding London. Like London just seemed hella. London is a place I ain't gonna lie. Like I've been to Paris, and like Paris is
yeah,
the best place I've been to. Like the most place I loved. Like I loved, and I
yeah.
just feel like
I
London
was
was
thinking
like the
about that a
next
lot.
place I wanted to go to.
Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot when I was, traveling around, just like your Paris experience and what you said, because it's like, similar energies in that sense. Like I know Paris would be on a different level with like the fashion and everything like that, but even in London, like you see the fashion, you see like we've been to so many stores and stuff, and all the name brand stores, and you see the ads and how that just everything is different. I really pay attention to those sort of things like advertisements and like like how everything is displayed and the way that they kind of show it. It's just dope out here. It definitely is like the architecture. I didn't I didn't think it was gonna be as like it's not just like one area and like this little town and this little. It's like the whole thing is just dope. Like every surrounding city area, like every single area that we've gone to has just been super cinematic, dope to look at. The energy has been dope. Um, yeah, I just didn't think I was gonna expect. I didn't expect to like it as much as I do. So, you know, that's just me. I don't know. It's been dope out here though. I like it, but it is, you know, gloomy like how I thought it was gonna be. I guess maybe that's a part of the reason why I didn't think it was gonna be that raw, because just like the perception of like the gloom and doom kind of vibe. You know what I mean? So, but I haven't seen any. uh Well, I did see one Niner fan. That's a lie. They were playing a
You said you
video.
saw one Niner fan?
Yeah, I saw a one Niner fan. They're playing a video of like the Super Bowl from a few weeks ago, from the Super Bowl, of like there's this area that we were in where like there's all these TVs and like places to eat and things like that. And I guess they were having like, you know, Super Bowl parties in there. So there was like a Niners fan, you know, there, and there was like an Eagles fan and a Rams fan or something like that. But then there's also got some guy from South Carolina who had this Mexican restaurant there who was trying to get us to eat there, and I was like, I'm cool. Um,
It's
but
a
he could
dude
tell
from
we
South
were,
Carolina in London.
yeah, who has a Mexican restaurant. But you
Bruh,
know,
that's hella random.
hey man,
I'm
nothing is
shitting on
random.
South
He came
Carolina
up,
right now. Like they don't got no
yeah,
culture out
yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I
But
don't
I
South
mean,
Carolina.
shit, you
I've
just
I've
think
never been
South
there, so I can't
Carolina.
judge.
Like, do y'all even know
Yeah,
what
I
London?
can't.
Let me stop. Let me stop.
Yeah, yeah.
You gonna
Stop,
go
man. You know
viral
they
for the
got,
wrong reason.
yeah, yeah. They got, you know, they got culture out there. They got food out there. But you know, he had a Mexican restaurant out here in London, and he instantly could tell that we were, you know, well, I mean, everybody could tell that we're American, and it's just interesting having like, you know, I've traveled before. It's not like this is the first time I've been out the country or anything, but it's just interesting having like, you know, you have the American accent. It's like I never perceive myself as somebody who has an accent. You know what I'm saying? But I guess nobody really does. So it's just interesting. So
Hell yeah, man. Fuck yeah, I
yeah,
gotta hit up London one of these days for real.
yeah, man. I definitely want to come back and see a football match for sure. So yeah, I definitely got to come back because I'm not gonna have time to do that this trip. But
Hell yeah,
definitely got to come
when
back
you
and do that.
coming back?
Yeah, I'll be back. Man, it's gonna be a quick. Things are moving, man. I'm gonna be coming back this weekend. So what is that? The 20? I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna be coming back on Sunday. But then I'll be going to New York right after, like March 3rd. I think the next weekend I'm gonna be going to New York like right after. So that's gonna be interesting. I don't even know if I can really speak on that too much, but that's gonna be a dope trip. A lot of big things planned for that. So
Damn, that boy going.
yeah,
Hell yeah,
man.
well shit,
So
bro. Well, get some sleep,
yeah,
man.
I will get some sleep. Any last thoughts on? I don't know if I've seen everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been so busy in my Wi-Fi situation. Anyways, I haven't seen all the updates or anything. Is there anything like that came in this week on the team that I missed out on?
Like I ain't really seen too much. Like just the nothing. I ain't really shit. I ain't seen nothing groundbreaking. I heard,
Yeah, yeah,
just that off season shit, but
yeah,
nothing groundbreaking, bro.
yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's gonna wait till I get back for things to get popping. So we'll see. But all right, family, I'll tap in with you. It was good tapping in. Good tapping in with the faithful, all who commented, everybody who tuned in. We appreciate y'all. This is the 49365 Tonight Show. Even though it's the morning, and I'm gonna definitely get that shut eye. But my name is BMetchy. It's positive energy and good vibes. As always, I'm with JV.
Hey, faithful, we out. Stand up, baby.